Assassin's Creed Shadows was the best game ever. It's true, it was the best-selling Assassin's Creed game ever. It's because of Nazi bigots like you that it did not sell that well. If you don't think that Assassin's Creed Shadows in general was the best game ever made, then you are Hitler's best guy. Well, wait. I'm Hitler's best guy. What do you mean? Well, needless to say, I am not even as slightly surprised that Assassin's Creed Shadows is an absolute failure. I called it even before the game was out, and that's not even special because literally everyone called it out for being bad. Even asmongold understood that Assassin's Creed Shadows was going to be bad. It wasn't like Starfield where he needed to play the game for a whole week straight to finally give his opinion. Man, it was such a visible disaster, it was insane.
Long before the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows, the media came together and said, you know what, we are going to have to defend this game tooth and nail, even if we straight up lie about its numbers and how good it's doing. And now we're finding out Assassin's Creed Shadows is the lowest selling game of the last 5 titles. I have a few different things to show.
Remember when how in the first week it was the best-selling game of all titles? And it was literally, if you did the math, by the way, which they themselves actually gave us, it was supposed to sell 100 million copies by the end of the year. Well, granted, there's still 2 months, roughly, until the end of the year, so hey, good luck, Assassin's Creed Shadows.
But before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, of course, it's pretty shocking that Assassin's Creed has fallen so far so fast because for years, we had begged for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, and instead of actually just giving people a high quality experience with really cool characters, they decided to choose this to be the game where they had a historical figure as a playable protagonist, which was shocking given who they chose. I think it would have been perfectly fine if Yasuke was a NPC and maybe he helped.
In what position, may I ask? Well, it's hard to guesstimate which position would it be, but typically historians kind of say the one without a lot of frights, you know what I'm saying?
You along the journey and he was more like a companion, that would have been a little bit more acceptable.
That would be still absolutely unacceptable on every level.
Even though it would have still been, I'm certain, historically inaccurate to some degree, I think people would have accepted it a little bit more, but that's not what they did. And wow, was this game really just mediocre in so many ways. I think the gameplay was still pretty good. I think that it's bizarre that in an Assassin's
The gameplay wasn't good because, keep in mind, people are saying that the Naue gameplay is decent. And yeah, it actually does look okay. But, man, the other gameplay is ass. Okay? We cannot discount half of the game and just say, oh, if we ignore half the game, it's good. That seems kinda dumb.
Assassin's Creed game, you're going around just absolutely demolishing people with Yasuke. I get it, right? His size is.
And keep in mind, the Japanese people bow to him like a god when he walks by, which is very, very obviously cool.
Stature, he can't really be that stealthy, then maybe that's another reason why he wasn't the best choice for a protagonist. But regardless, this has been a game that the Axis media has tried their best to defend over the past couple of months, and now we're finding out some pretty bad news about this title. So, this is a post over in Kotaku in action. Assassin's Creed Shadows is the lowest selling game of the last 5 Assassin's Creed games, despite having the highest budget, which we knew this game had a eye-watering $200 million.
I'm gonna say this again. Assassin's Creed Shadows probably had a budget easily at the bare minimum of 700 million. I think it can easily actually surpass 800 million, no problems. This was Ubisoft's last ditch attempt, and they needed to make it count. when you want things to count, you are not sparing expenses. Because if this game is just slightly not a disaster, it still creates debt for your company. It still means you're in a horrible situation. It's at this situation, it's blow it out of the park or sink like a rock.
Dollar budget if those
Also, why are we trusting this? Yves Guillemot literally officially said that they see Shadow's budget was only 116 million. Yes. And again, I have stated this multiple times. There is no recourse to be taken against these CEOs, these people who lie about the budgets of the games they make. As long as a country does not require for you to disclose the amount of, whatever you made, costing, nothing happens. They can lie. He can literally say that Assassin's Creed Shadows, the making of the game, costed them negative 100 billion, and they made money if he wants. There's nothing to be done. There's no punishment.
Figures are to be believed. Those are the only ones that we've gotten. But we knew that this was, of course, a game, right, that was going to have a pretty big budget. It seemed that they were going all out with it, except for actually, I don't know, bringing on talented developers. But just because a studio can hire thousands upon thousands of people to work on a project or put hundreds of millions of dollars towards it doesn't mean it's going to be a smashing success. And while we've heard that it is, we're now finding out a bit of a different picture. So we found out that, for example, compared to Mirage, which sold 5 million in 3 months, Shadow sold 4 million in 6 months, fewer copies in double the amount of time, knowing that Mirage sold less than Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins. What a...
By the way, this is not even 50% less sales. This is a lot. This is an unbelievably a lot less sales, okay? Wow.
Real disaster. And yes, there are a few...
This is under... these numbers, when you actually... I'm not going to do the math, but this is roughly underselling, not by half, but... Assassin's Creed Shadows is underperforming roughly 2.5 times under Mirage. That's what these numbers actually say.
Disaster. And yes, there are a few different sources for this information, but here is one of the Insider Gaming articles that talks about Mirage, which was said to be on par with past successful launches such as Origins and Odyssey. Currently stands at 5 million players, estimated $250 million in revenue. We didn't even look at, some of the other figures for other Ubisoft games. Wow.
This doesn't count microtransactions, by the way.
Wow, my goodness. Is that a hell of a lot of money, but still not as much as they anticipated for games like Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Yeah, sure, it might be 1.9 million.
Man, that game was ass.
Players estimated 133 million in revenue. From what we heard, that had $100 million budget, so even that isn't good. Though we're talking...
Also, if you have seen that game, and if you believe that it had even $1 million in the budget, like, where did that money go? What was it spent on?
About Assassin's Creed Shadows just not being able to catch a break, and hey, I'm not complaining. Okay, when the media lies about a game, when the media calls us racists and sexists and bigots for criticizing a game, you're not going to get me to defend it. And what is actually funny about this is Ghost of Yotei had outsold Shadows on PS5 in under 3 weeks, meaning the samurai showdown is clearly settled at this point now. Ghost of Yotei is another game that I think we all expected to sell at least decently, if not maybe as amazing.
Yeah, we expected Ghost of Yotei to sell decently.
As Tsushima.
It was the first disaster after Tsushima, so,
So far.
Still a disaster, though.
From what we've heard, it sold pretty good, at release, but the sales have definitely tanked. But Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't even get that high over the past several months since launch. Assassin's Creed Shadows across all platforms, it performed well in isolation, selling just over 4.3 million. And people are practically pointing and laughing at Ubisoft because
Didn't Assassin's Creed Shadows announce 3 million players and then they stopped? Or was it how many players did Assassin's Creed announce? Because they were doing it for a while. And then they stopped because it wasn't looking good.
They've been facing so many problems, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and really just the state of the AAA industry because we haven't.
She scrolls down just a little bit and you can already see the first. But you see. God damn.
Really just the state of the AAA industry because we haven't been getting the experiences we've wanted. And
Boys, you know what's the experience I wanted? Liking the video and hyping it up if you're on mobile device. Do it right now. It takes less than a second. It greatly helps out the channel. I like when people do it, and I am thankful for all of you who do it. Thank you. And if you think that this is important, that Ubisoft is trash, then definitely like the video right now. It takes less than a second, and thank you for everyone who does. I appreciate it.
And with something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, they had the opportunity to make bank on a game like an Assassin's Creed set in Japan. It should have been an easy win, but it wasn't because they put.
Yep. My opinion about Assassin's Creed Shadow is that Ubisoft was just like, in case of emergency, break glass Assassin's Creed Japan, which was supposed to literally make them billions. Instead, it barely made millions.
Such little effort into it. And even though they said, oh, it's historically accurate, it wasn't.
Oh, when was, by the way, the first sale for Assassin's Creed Shadows? I don't remember, but it was pretty fast, right?
Coming out and then attacking people for criticizing it was a terrible fucking move, especially during a time when Ubisoft is going through so much uncertainty. Skull and Bones was a quadruple A failure. X Defiant is dead, and that was supposed
Skull and Bones was beautiful.
to be the Call of Duty kill.
A pirate game where the loot is even bad. Imagine, you're a pirate, you're out for riches. Oh, what are you getting? Well, cannonballs and wood. Yeah, that's insane, obviously.
But really it's the only thing that died. Star Wars Outlaws came out, underperformed, faded into obscurity, and Assassin's Creed Shadows is another game that sure
Ubisoft is literally dead on all accounts. Everyone knows this.
did okay at release, but it's already fallen off of a cliff and basically nobody is talking about it, even looking at these Steam DB.
My favorite Ubisoft moment was when people started to speculate. I saw no proof of this, but people started to speculate and meme about the fact since you could actually see the numbers for Black Flag, not Black Flag. What was the pirate game called? I already forgot. The pirate Ubisoft game. Since you could see the numbers for it on Steam, that Ubisoft was trying to pressure Steam that they remove the player count numbers so they can lie about it.
Numbers. Sure, this is a game that is single player, right? So you're going to play it initially, and then once you've completed it, you're going to drop the game until they put out DLC and new content, but it's all time.
No, not true. Not true at all. The old Assassin's Creed games have still more players playing them for a longer time. People just like playing games sometimes. This what this.
Peak wasn't great. It was 64,825, which is wild considering this is a game with hundreds of millions of dollars for a budget, and it's Ubisoft, so they basically could have marketed this to anybody they wanted. They could have put as much money into marketing this game as possible, and this is the best it could get. Sure, it did release on multiple platforms, but wow, is this really fucking bad. And in-game right now is 2,832, so absolutely horrific. Though if we go back to the original post, people are pointing and laughing. But Yasuke is the greatest assassin. It managed to kill the whole running decade franchise, which I think is so freaking funny. It's not because of racists, it's not because of bigots, it's just because Ubisoft has been putting out mediocre experience after mediocre experience and has been disappointed.
Calling Ubisoft's experience as mediocre at this point kind of feels offensive to Borderlands 4, honestly. That's a mediocre experience at best. But Assassin's Creed Shadows, I mean, again, I don't think it's fair to say, oh, the gameplay is good when no one literally wants to play with us with 50% of the game's characters because it's ass. There's so many things that are honestly just pure cope when it comes to AC Shadows. It really is insane, honestly. But in any case, that was Bomb Ever 10 out of 10. Bye.